Last week kind of felt like something was missing for me. I don't know about you.
I'm feeling 22.
What? Stop it.
Oh,
I've my life was incomplete without a Friday rock promo on Instagram.
oh, yeah, you know what? I did miss that. It's a good way to eat up like my third lunch break on Fridays.
Yeah, man, good nice 10-minute palate cleanser of just the rock waxing eloquently on the direction people can F off. Um and talking about people's mamas and dogs and whatever else there is. Did you see Friday Night SmackDown?
I did. I watched a good portion of Friday Night SmackDown live on Fox.
Um, I know I'm a bit nerdy, but all these nerds need to calm down about how, oh, it's the Avengers. It's so Marvel. We've got Roman Reigns snapped his fingers. He's Thanos. Ah, here's Cody. He's assembling his team. Blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, if you didn't see this coming, the minute they said, if you come alone, I'll come alone, then you're just outside your mind, right?
A lot of people have never watched wrestling before, is what I'm gathering, and hey, I'm glad that wrestling has new fans. That's great. Because wrestling is cool again, thanks to the great
Dewey.
one, thanks to DJ, thanks to the Brahma Bull, thanks to the final boss of the
That's right.
WWE,
That's right.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
But welcome to Final Wrestling Plays. I'm Tim.
I'm still Marcus.
And we're not necessarily here to delve deep into the promo time of Dwayne the Rock Johnson on Friday nights. Even though we're about to get, we're probably gonna get a Monday morning one when he heads to
Ooh,
Raw on Monday.
let me pencil in a third lunch break for Monday as well.
That is the
All
Monday
right.
after Easter,
Okay.
April Fool's Day.
Ah,
Yes, where we will have a episode of Final Wrestling Place. Don't let us be in charge of the content, please. Um, but uh, today on this very program, Marcus and I are going to talk because, of course, it's WrestleMania season. Some people have a full blown case of WrestleMania fever. Some of it could be a little worse than a fever. Some it could be just a small little sniffle. Um, but we're gonna talk good place, bad place, WrestleMania moments. And before we get into the moments, Marcus, um, where's your WrestleMania fever at right now? Like,
you know what? I actually took a couple weeks ago when I said I think I was about like an 8,
mm-hmm,
and some people wanted to call me and to check, make sure I'm doing okay. You know what? I took some medication and I went downstairs and opened up the cupboard and actually found a bottle of this nightmare narcotic, and I actually just took a little sip and it knocked the fever right out of me.
oh come on.
I'm down. I'm down to about a. Just kidding. I'm down to I'd say a healthy 7. Clip
So
that.
you're still you're still sweating out.
But I'm really actually pumped for Bailey and EO.
Yeah,
And that's not like a hipster pick. It's just like, oh, this is like a really fundamental wrestling story. And that's all it takes to like make me happy. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped about that.
do you think because both of the men's titles are on night two? Sorry, WrestleMania Sunday. Does that mean we're going to get both women's matches on WrestleMania Saturday?
Um, I think so. I think so, yeah. I think we'll get if there is like a 6-woman tag, which kind of seems like maybe things were trending there on SmackDown, or if it's just a tag match or something like that. I think we'll get that on Sunday, but I think we'll get the two women's matches on WrestleMania night one. And I was gonna say they might even bookend the show, but it seems like the tag match is the prevailing thought is gonna close out night one.
Yeah, and I would too. Like if you have all four of those players together, having it not main event, Triple H has been on the opposite side of being in the main event when he shouldn't be. Maybe he'll know better than to put matches not in the main event slot that should be in the main event. So here's hoping to that. But we're talking WrestleMania moments, and while there's plenty of moments that are bound to be made at the greatest, the biggest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania XL, April 6 and 7 from the link. Your boys will be there on WrestleMania Sunday. Can't wait. When is the first time you remember the hearing or the I would say the propaganda machine for WrestleMania moments?
It probably goes back to WrestleMania 10. I remember they would show like the WrestleMania flashbacks in the build up
Mm-hmm.
to WrestleMania 10. That kind of, at least to me in my memory, that's the first time that they kind of really like acknowledge their past uh in that sort of way. So that's the first time it kind of stuck with me. And then I would say probably like WrestleMania 12 with Shawn's zipline entrance. I guess it's cool if you've never like seen or been on a zipline before. Um what? What?
Just always finding a way.
It's a zipline. Come
Yeah,
on.
it's cool. It's from the top of the
No,
building.
no, no. Sting falling, with the gimmick cord all the way down. That is cool. That is cool. Um, but looking like somebody's grandma, coming from the top of the building, um, ever so gingerly. That's not cool.
Uh,
But I
Toucan.
would say WrestleMania 12. I would say the Shawn Michaels entrance. I remember that being like replayed on TV and Vince McMahon oogling over it. No, what about it? That's probably the first one that like really stands out to me, like in real time, where it's
Right,
like, oh, they're trying to make this a thing. What
right.
about for you?
See, I guess when I asked the question, I asked it. I guess it came across differently because to me, like like WrestleMania moment with the trademark, the phrase WrestleMania moment to me doesn't really come into play in my mind until WrestleMania 22
Um,
because it's Edge and Mick Foley, right? And
sure.
Mick is like throwing it down like I never had a WrestleMania moment. I never had a moment like
Right.
and like it is seared into my brain WrestleMania moment. And like yes, there were WrestleMania moments
Hmm.
prior, right? But the trademark WrestleMania moment was probably etched into stone at WrestleMania 22, where having a moment is greater than having a match or
Or
being
winning a match.
correct. Like
Hmm.
be having a moment that would last on through eternity at WrestleMania meant more than a W in the win column or a check in the win column, right? And so I point to Mick Foley at WrestleMania 22 for that. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to recall in my head of if that verbiage was used elsewhere or prior. Like maybe at 20, but
Yeah, I just don't remember it being so prominent, like you said, like the whole feud being built around a WrestleMania moment with Edge and Foley, pretty much.
Right, right. And so I just don't know. But to you, what makes a good WrestleMania moment?
For me, I think it's something. It's got to be authentic. That's the first thing I look at. I need something authentic. And it gets really hard now because WWE has come out and said we script buzzer beaters, and that makes it really hard for me as a fan to enjoy something in live time. So I look for something that at least makes it feel authentic and maybe passes the sniff test of authenticity. So that's number one for me, and I think number two, and somehow WWE has like made this a plus when it should be a big a big minus for them. But like the anticipation, which can oftentimes also just mean like, the build, like Kofi, right? With Kofi Mania and the 10 or 11 years of Kofi being around and wanting to see him finally do it. Like that was their fault. Like that wasn't like some like journey Kofi had to go on because like he could never win the big one. Like that was them. And it's gonna kind of be the same, like a similar thing. Not the same, but a similar thing with like Bailey this year at WrestleMania, where it's like, oh, she finally has like her one-on-one match at WrestleMania and like for the women's title. And it's like, well, like Bailey's been around for, almost a decade. Like this one's on you guys. It's not really like I don't know why we're celebrating like um the talent overcoming the obstacles of the promotion, but
Right.
that seems to be like a big thing. So, I would just kind of wrap it all up with like authenticity and the anticipation meeting the build.
For sure.
What about for you though?
Yeah, I want to. Yeah, definitely what you said about authenticity, and that's the thing is like your quote before about how WWE scripts buzzer beaters, and that's kind of the crazy part, right? Is because it's like I think the direct quote is we can script the buzzer beater.
Mm,
And then that to your point though, that makes it even more confusing for a fan, right? Or not as a fan, but like a smart fan, right? Us.
mhm,
Um, if you can script the buzzer beater, it's on us to double down and look to see, is this a Fugazi WrestleMania moment or is this real,
right.
right? And like the authenticity is absolutely paramount, but also too like it has to be a moment not just for the performer, but it has to be a moment for the fan now. Where like I think one of the greatest WrestleMania moments of all time is going to be Kofi Mania at
Mhm.
34 or 35.
35, yeah.
Kofi Mania at 35, right? Yes, it was a big deal to Kofi, but it was also a huge deal to us as fans, especially those who have followed Kofi day in, day out. We've been hooked on him since his start in WWE ECW, a part of the New Talent Initiative, growing from there, seeing the rise of the New Day, and then things falling into place, and we get this meteoric supernova run to WrestleMania 35 for Kofi, and it's insane, right? I mean, I can think to the video that was going around of Shad Gaspard and MVP at the bar,
Right.
watching this and actually sharing an embrace in tears that Kofi did it for the culture and did it for them. And I know that you and I were equally as emotional watching it at home. Obviously, he does not look like me, but if you know me, I definitely skew with a heavy fandom towards black wrestlers, and I just it's something that went past the race barrier and permeated farther, but meant so much more at the barrier, right?
Mm-hmm.
It resonated past it, but the ground zero is absolutely insane. Would you agree that Kofi Mania is an all-time good place WrestleMania moment?
Absolutely, man. I guess that's our first one. Yeah, I would definitely put that in a good place for WrestleMania moments. Again, it's something that like felt authentic. It had a great build. It was ABC storytelling that they had put all these hurdles in the way before, and it's like the company kind of using itself as like its own worst enemy of like, are we gonna really like gonna acknowledge the things that like we wouldn't acknowledge before and kind of lead you down this path to like have him lose? And you're like, well, yeah, they would. And, and so like the fact that like he won, that felt big. Yeah, that's a great first ballot entry into the good place for WrestleMania moments.
Right. And then but on the other turn of phrase, like going back to WWE saying we can script the buzzer beaters, I think one of the most all-time worst WrestleMania moments is the engagement of John Cena and Nikki Bella.
Oof.
Like, this is the epitome of we can script the buzzer beaters, right? And,
Yeah.
and this was at 34?
This is at 33.
33. Okay, I wanted to say 33 and then I changed it in my head. But of course, the mixed tag match, Miz and Maurice versus John Cena and Nikki Bella. If you're watching Total Bellas, you know that like Nikki has been riding John of when are we going to get engaged? When are we going to get engaged? When are we going to get engaged? There was a lot of legwork for the WWE Universe to follow along with. If you wanted to get the full depth and breadth, and I don't know why you would, of this story. But after the mixed tag, we get John doing, which in earnest, this would have been a really cool WrestleMania moment. Like, if there are other wrestlers who are in a couple and are not married and they get engaged at WrestleMania, that would be really cool. But because it was so produced and so heavily scripted, because it was on Total Bellas, it makes it fall flat, and it's almost a mockery. It's a mockery of WrestleMania and a mockery of the Institute of Marriage. How do you do that?
It felt like I was an extra, like a non-casted extra in the background of like a movie where like they're shooting an engagement scene.
You're at what's the? I hate to bring up Boston, but what's the Drew Barrymore, Jimmy Fallon fever pitch?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay, it's like fever pitch. You're just in the state. Like, hey, we need about 30,000 people to fill out this stadium. We're gonna have Jimmy Fallon propose to Drew Barrymore here. Ready? Action. That's exactly what it was, except we didn't have Jimmy Fallon. We had John Cena, and unfortunately, we did not have Drew Barrymore. We had Nikki Bella.
Yeah, it would be dope if we had Drew Barrymore.
I want to get into the Drew Barrymore show so much. That's my kind of speed. Her and the Kelly Clarkson show.
I'm a big fan of the Kelly Clarkson show. I get to catch a good bit of it at my super secret science job every day.
Is that your first or second lunch break?
It's my pre-first lunch break.
Oh, it's your breakfast break.
Somewhere between breakfast and lunch, yeah.
So you're on that Hobbit schedule, right? Is it 11sies?
Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah, 11sies. So I have already given a good place and bad place WrestleMania moment. What about you? What do you got? What have you got queued up for WrestleMania moments?
Um, I was thinking about WrestleMania moments, and I was thinking about this year's WrestleMania, and the use and really the last couple of years of a celebrity involvement at WrestleMania,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, oh man, is WWE like getting good with the celebrity involvement at WrestleMania? Like, I feel like they've just been better at it, like getting celebrities like Logan Paul, even though like he's blended into WWE now, and the same thing with the Bad Bunny,
Bad Bunny,
and bringing in the Rock, the final boss, and like, a couple years
which
ago there
is a
was the Cardi B
celebrity at
rumors.
WrestleMania. I don't care what anybody tells you.
Hey, I'm not gonna fight you on it. And there was the Cardi B rumors from a couple years ago, and that got me to thinking all the way back to WrestleMania one. And neither of us were alive for it, but I think it's something we can both appreciate. The timing of being able to get Cyndi Lauper in 1985, um, and pair her with Wendy Richter and have Wendy Richter win the belt and have that moment where they're in the ring celebrating. And again, it's such like a tried and true ABC style of storytelling, but it delivers on a pretty cool moment. And the fact that like they got a celebrity, they got a musical artist, a pop culture icon at the time who was like actually like at the height of their powers, and relevant. It's something that like as wrestling fans, as WWE fans, excuse me, we don't get too often. And like I'll tag into Wiki here. I know you're listening. But like 85 Cyndi Lauper, like what would be the closest comparison like to any date and time WrestleMania? Because like the only thing I could kind of think of was like, let's say Lita won the WWE title or the WWF Women's title in like 2001, and like maybe Britney Spears was celebrating with her,
Or like Gwen Stefani.
and or like Gwen Stefani. All right, like that'd be dope. Feels like we should have got Gwen Stefani in WWE. It feels like a missed opportunity.
For
Oh, there's
sure.
that word again.
Whoop.
Um, but yeah, I think it's a WrestleMania moment that is starting to get a little bit more play now because Wendy Richter I think is back in the fold. Um,
Regardless
but
of
for a
whether you
long
think
time,
Tony Storm has anything to do with that or not.
she may not be in the fold for long if Tony Storm has her way.
That's right.
Should put an end to that real quick.
F her up.
But that's a good place WrestleMania moment for me. And then in the realm of bad place WrestleMania moments, and it's still in the celebrity wing of things. There's nothing like getting a celebrity at WrestleMania who doesn't want to play ball. And I think the most egregious case of this that I could think of was Little Richard at WrestleMania 10.
Oh.
With the lip syncing performance, it was rough, man. It was rough. You could just see he was a caricature of himself.
Right.
Um, if Little Richard would have like actually brought it, if he would have brought the blue suede shoes, if he would have actually brought it, um, dude, Little Richard in WWF would have been like such a great fit.
Right. For sure. For sure. Um, I'll go with another good place WrestleMania moment. And it is going to be for me um one from the WrestleMania 10, and it's the moment of the WWE universe or the WWE locker room uh celebrating and congratulating Bret Hart
Mm,
for toppling the mighty Yokozuna in the main event.
Yakazuma.
Right. Um it's a less favored upon or a less thought about WrestleMania moment. It's one of Brett's like only WrestleMania moments where it's actually his to claim.
Hmm.
Um, there's a couple of other Bret Hart moments you could probably point to, but this one I think is the highest of the high. Um, Mainly because it's just the unification of the locker room. It shows how big of a threat Yokozuna was to the locker room and what it meant for Bret to be able to topple the beast, topple the mighty Yokozuna at WrestleMania. Even with Owen, like even Owen coming out to like pay his respect, but also like tell Bret, it's like, hey, I'm not far. Like I got your
Hmm.
number. That title's as good as
Hmm.
mine. Congratulations, big brother. But I'm coming around the corner for you on that one. So for me, I'm gonna put the WrestleMania 10 celebration of Bret Hart in the good place. And for the bad place, the reason this goes in the bad place is because I have to put it in the bad place. It is a good place WrestleMania moment. Unfortunately, because of history, I am not able to celebrate this the same way as I would have before. And that
Hmm.
is the celebration of WrestleMania 20. Unfortunately, a mass triple bunny gulping experience has kind of erased this moment from ever feeling good for me.
Yeah.
I cannot, no matter how hard I try to separate sin from sinner, no matter how often I try to separate art from artist, I cannot separate it for Chris Benoit. And as great of a feel good moment as it was for Eddie and Chris to share that moment at WrestleMania to people whose careers had um, been in lockstep from Japan through ECW, through WCW, and into the WWE, and being the two brightest stars in the WWE galaxy. Um, for now, it is nothing. It is a non-point. It is a moot point, and it is in the bad place.
Mm. Yeah, I rewatched WrestleMania 20 about 2 weeks ago, and getting to that show closing moment was just it was like, oof, man. Really cool at the time. And it's like, how do you explain that now to somebody? It's
Right.
like, oh, what happened to that at WrestleMania 20? And like, it's hard to, I think, even when like we look at WrestleMania and as we get um more like tentpole WrestleManias um factored in, it's like 20 will always have like this, yeah, it happened, it was a great show, at the time the heart was in the right place, but we don't really talk about it.
Right.
So yeah, that's a tough, it's tough, man, it is tough.
Right. Because it's such a celebration of the work put in, the road traveled. Right. It is not a celebration of the day. It is a celebration of practically 15 years of struggle, of determination, of perseverance, of not taking no for an answer and coming out on the other side. And like, while there are still lessons to learn from that, which is what you do with history, to celebrate it and to put it in the good place, no matter how good of a moment it was, it can't stay there, right? It
Yeah.
cannot, because now all it does is make me think and remember, oh, Benoit did the thing to Daniel and Nancy, right?
Yeah.
And all I think about is the bad stuff, like the most all-time thing ever. And regardless of where you stand on whether Crispin or whether it was Chris or whether it was Kevin Sullivan or whatever, like blah blah blah, it's still bad. It's still unfortunate. Um, what do you got for moments?
Um, well, you already touched on it earlier. But like the other one, of course, I was gonna bring up was the crowning of the Hitman at WrestleMania 10.
Yep.
Um, going back to like it's the first time I think we get the big fairy tale show closing heroes ending to WrestleMania, and for it to be for Brett, the leader of the new generation, for it to be my guy. um I can only equate it to when your team wins a Super Bowl. That's
Mm-hmm.
the feeling. Like, this truly is the feeling. It's more than like, yes, I wanted this guy to win this match, and he did. It's like the recognition and the effort and the appreciation shown. Um, After the company had done a total about face the previous year, and had tried to do everything they could to try everybody else as the guy.
Right.
Like, no, Brett's our guy. Give him a run. And out of that run, he got his moment at WrestleMania 10. So for me, when I think about like good place WrestleMania moments, the Bret Hart WrestleMania 10 moment for me is a no doubter.
Right.
And then if we're thinking like bad place WrestleMania moments, um, to a way different degree than WrestleMania 20 with Benoit and Eddie. But it's WrestleMania 8 with Hogan and Warrior. Where like, sure, you get the surprise comeback of Ultimate Warrior. It's also like, we could have used you a little earlier, man. Like, WrestleMania 8's the first trimmed down WrestleMania, and it's because of the state that the roster is in. It's like, hey man, we could have used you. And then for him to come back, but he's coming back, but Hogan's gone for a year, and then Warrior is going to be gone before Survivor Series even.
Right.
It's a very weird way to like close the show, because you think you're like handing off the torch again, but you're not, because both guys are not going to be there for a good 4 months, good portion of the year following WrestleMania. So
Right.
that's a tough one to me.
Um, I will put a bow on what I'm considering the moments, because I don't want to like. We could literally sit here and break down every single moment, and I definitely want to
Just
leave.
dudes naming athletes.
That's right, dudes naming dudes, right?
Right.
Which of course we'd love to hear what your thoughts on WrestleMania moments in the Discord, in the comment section of the YouTube channel, here on this video. Like, share, subscribe, the whole nine, for us here on YouTube as well. But I want to close out my list with an actual good place moment that turned bad
Okay.
after the fact, and what
All right.
appeared to be what is a bad place moment that started good, right? So what people will look to as a bad place moment was actually good is also at WrestleMania 20. But it's the heel turn of Trish Stratus.
Ooh, okay.
Of course, with everything that happened afterwards, it kind of nullifies the actual moment. But for Christian and Trish to sync up and really ultimately stick it to Chris Jericho over a bet for $1 Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
and then the kiss on the stage, the very aggressive kiss on the stage. It really felt like, and it really should have been, Christian's ascending moment.
That's a great point. Yeah.
Like, he is visibly on par with your number one female in the company.
Mm-hmm.
The number one female is backing this guy. to go forward, right? Why is that not the marching order? And of course, whatever happened afterwards, which honestly I can't remember. I'm in shock because I was super into Christian at the time. But it's not too far after this where Christian packs it in, right? Isn't he gone in a year?
Well, we get the Captain Charisma run that spins out of him and Trish falling apart.
Right.
By the summer of 04.
Right.
By SummerSlam, they're no longer a thing. So,
but doesn't Trish get hurt?
Out of that, we get Trish gets hurt. I'm thinking. No, Trish is there. When does Trish get hurt? Trish gets hurt 05 into 06.
That's right. Okay.
She's hurt for a long time, and they just kind of pretend when she comes back, it's she's back with the belt that she never had to defend or relinquish.
Right. But to me, that while it is going to be looked at now as a bad place moment, it is really a good place moment. On the flip side, there is a good place moment in WrestleMania history that I think is bad place, and it also involves Bad Terry, and it also involves the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
And it's WrestleMania 6. And the actual passing of the torch. This is supposed to be the moment where the Ultimate Warrior is to be lauded as the future of the WWF, right? He has just defeated the immortal Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. Hulk, it is supposed to be Warrior's grandest moment, right? And sure, we have the images of Warrior standing with both belts high in the corner. All of the paint have sweated off of the face of the Warrior. But all the fans can think about is Bad Terry having to do the whole display in the ring, handing the title to Warrior Man, and then as Warrior is celebrating in the ring, Hulk gets in a cart and gets wheeled to the back, and all the eyes are on Bad Terry as he's leaving. Make something about yourself that isn't about you. He very easily could have taken his leave, not handed the title to Warrior, and not gotten in a cart to be ridden up. He could have just walked to the back. Everything could have not been about him, but he found a way. We use the phrase glory hound for a lot of other people. Bad Terry was the dude. He was the playmaker. And that moment for Warrior is going to be a bad place moment for me. Just all together.
It's hard to disagree there. And even Bad Terry himself will say oh, there was 85,000 in the Sky Dome, brother. Instead of looking in the ring at Warrior, they were looking back at me. And
even his exaggeration it's right, but it's wrong because it should have never happened.
Yeah.
The problem isn't that 85,000 people are staring at you, Terry. It's the fact that you did an act to make 85,000 people stare at you.
Yeah, he was.
If maybe you just let it happen.
Yeah, he's definitely puppy dogging. Yeah, or maybe don't put Bad Terry in a cart and raise him up to the heavens, all the way back on the ride. Just let him go.
Right. He doesn't need the moment. He does not need it. He had so many of them. Literally, Hogan must pose. It was a thing. I don't know if you have more on your list, but I'm going to make you change your list for a second because I want you to put in your personal favorite WrestleMania moment And bad place WrestleMania moment.
Well, you all right, cuz?
Dog, this is an all-timer.
When I talked about authenticity, when I talked about not being planned, when I talked about it being real, this encapsulates all those things. Talking, of course, from WrestleMania night one, night two.
Night
I don't remember
two.
what day it is.
Night
It's
two.
it's Shane McMahon tearing his quad. Um, you know, R.I.P. Shane McMahon's quad. Um, but in real time, man, seeing him try to bust out his opening shine from the year 2001
Mm-hmm.
in the year 2023. It's a young man's game, and
Come on now. Be professional. Come on, cuh. What? What's wrong?
he didn't do my man like that.
What do you mean? What do you mean how they do your man like that? What do you mean?
He's like, man, Snoop Dogg comes in. And Snoop Dogg's like talking to Mike the Miz, and he blames Mike the Miz for.
See, this is where you don't have it, but I just put up on our shared screen the picture of what actually happened at WrestleMania, where Shane McMahon is down, being looked after by an EMT and ref Jessica Carr.
Oh man!
And at the same time, Snoop decks the Miz with a one-hit quitter, Roy Jones Jr. special. Both broke out the Philly shell and bopped him.
Oh man!
By the way, this
Show
is
must
going to
go
be
on, pal.
the thumbnail
Yes,
for our podcast, because there is nothing better than this. But yeah, man, that is an all-time WrestleMania moment. Do you have a favorite bad place WrestleMania moment?
I didn't have one off the top of my head. Let me think of favorite bad place WrestleMania moment.
Or maybe
I
not
mean, some people
favorite, but
might
like
say
most
it's that.
memorable.
A most memorable bad place WrestleMania moment. This I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be mean about it.
You can.
WrestleMania 37, when was it like Natalya and Tamina? Did they
Yes.
win like a tag gauntlet to go after the tag belts the next day?
Mm-hmm.
That all felt like one big WrestleMania moment. And
because don't they actually win the titles?
Do they? They might win the titles. If they win the titles, that's yeah.
Yeah, let me look.
That's not great.
Well, who were the you can't necessarily say that if you don't know who the champions were. So
Can I?
maybe. I mean, you could. Results. Take me to the results. Okay.
That's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, and they lost to them. So there's that.
Which is almost even better because it's like this 15-minute tag team turmoil match that I remember kind of being like, all right, this is my favorite match type, and all right. And for them to like not get the job done the next day was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was very cheeks. Very, very cheeks. But let us
Speaking of
know.
cheeks,
Go ahead.
did you see the clip that's been making its rounds today of Rhea Ripley?
The stink face?
Yeah. You seem familiar.
I'm schooled. I don't have the angles. I don't have all the angles. I just know the one. Salute. God
Did you see
bless.
Buddy Matthews on Twitter?
No. Do I need to look this up?
Yeah, sure. You could look up Buddy Matthews on Twitter. It was a good reply. It
Of
just a
course it
reminder
is.
that this man's a 2-time Hall of Famer. You know, 3 if you count the rumor of them not doing jobs, which I think rocks. So yeah, he might be a first ever 3-peat main eventer for me.
Okay, I'm trying. I guess it's under replies. Hit the button. Weekly occurrence. God bless. God bless.
Yeah, that dude rocks.
Like, as much as people like talk about how Buddy Murphy looks like jacked up Triple H, and how people can make the comparison that Rhea is China, I'm telling my kids that Buddy Murphy and Rhea Ripley were Triple H in China. Like, this is them. Don't care. Buddy Matthews, come home. I love the House of Black. Don't worry. I don't need Al Black. I just need Boudreaux.
Oh, you're getting Al Black.
I don't need him. I don't need him. If he comes back, that's fine. SmackDown needs a spooky presence on Friday nights. That's not Killer Karrion Kross. We need an actual spooky threat on Fridays. But yeah, man, I'm here for Buddy. I'm here for Buddy, and whatever happens with Buddy, moving forward. So, but salute to Rhea. I can't wait for WrestleMania. Wait to see what it is you've got in store, and I hope to God. And I'm putting the cart before the horse. I hope Becky Lynch can't get the job done, man.
I do too. I want Rhea just to keep winning. I like that her being champ for the last year hasn't felt like she's been champ for the last year.
Right.
Which to me just makes it feel right. Like, oh yeah, it's the way it's supposed to be.
Like, I get what Adam has said recently on At Odds with Wrestling, where it's like, I don't need all of my title reigns to go super long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need them to go super long, but when it feels right that they should go long, go long.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going. Like, some title reigns don't need to be cut short. Right?
Yeah.
I think it's a real threat for Rhea's title at WrestleMania. But
Always.
That's neither here nor there. And that's a possibility of a WrestleMania moment at WrestleMania 40 for Rhea or Becky, to be completely honest. But of course, let us know your thoughts on good place, bad place WrestleMania moments in the Discord at the TNM Shows channel for the soon-to-be-named network Discord. Also, in the comments section on the YouTube. We're going to transition into what rocked for us this week. But for me, what actually rocked this week was a question on We Need Wrestling that also permeated into At Odds with Wrestling. And that is from life coach, death coach, tax advisor, hot sauce baron, a man who has walked with me into hell multiple times with hot sauce, Doug, asking a question that if your schooling were based around questions like this, you would have been valedictorian, salutatorian, all the Torians. Marcus, we're talking best power guts in wrestling. And I feel if it's final wrestling place, we got to do an abrupt good place, bad place, power guts.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about the art of the power gut, right?
I'm gonna back out. Here you go, boys.
They had it right on We Need Wrestling, right? It's about being in shape. It's about being bound with muscles. It's about being clearly a bad dude or a bad lady. And it's about the gut being the source of the power.
Right.
That's the art of the power gut. Some might call it the muscle gut. I opt for power gut. It's the art of the power gut. That's where the energy is stored. That's the source of the power. So when we're talking about true power guts, we got to start number one, first ballot, Scott Norton.
See, this is where we disagree.
Okay.
To me, the ultimate power gut is that big rhino, Jim the Anvil Neidhart.
Jim Neidhart
My man
is
was
absolutely
throwing
next up.
anvils.
He is next up. He is absolutely it. 1, 2, however you want to slice and dice them. I'm not going to argue. When it comes to the actual definition of the power gut, Jim Neidhart, number one.
It's the when I close my eyes and I see a power gut, I see Jim, I see the anvil. I got a like dog. I got the box. I got the box right here, dog. Like
Flip it over. Let's see it. Other side.
I'm not flipping it over. I'm reaching in. Excuse me, Mr. Hitman. You got to get out of the way. Excuse me, Coliseum Collection. Dog, they even put the power gut on the fig. It's there. It's small, but it's there. I sees it.
It's there. I see the gut. Yeah.
It's there. As
So
good
Scott
of a gut
Norton,
can be on an action
Scott
figure.
Norton, Jim Neidhart, two no doubters. Put them in. All right. Let's talk about another one. The tag team partner for a brief period of time in WCW, number 3 for me on the list, is the Ice Train.
Ice Train.
Recently lost Ice Train, but man, what a legendary power gut he had. Tremendous power, tremendous strength and athleticism, but the power gut that he formed, a thing of beauty. Do you have another power gut candidate?
Of course, I mean, I'll have to go with one of your dads.
Please do.
It's hard not to say Don Morocco.
Don Morocco, what a power gut. Now, before he got into the Hulkster supply of chicken and rice circa 1988, Don Morocco's power gut before then was stupendous because what I like about his power gut is it almost tricks you into thinking that like I could take this dude, right? But then you see Don Morocco get his hands on somebody and it's like, I don't want any parts of that. I don't want any parts of that. It's the fact that Don Morocco could eat a dozen donuts during a promo to help fuel the power gut and still go out there and beat people up. That's why he's one of the all-time greats. That's why he's definitely in the Power Gut Hall of Fame. Don Morocco put him in. Another great power gut taken from us too soon. Dino Bravo.
I know.
Wonderful power gut. Might even be Canada's greatest power gut is Dino Bravo. I'm gonna say a power gut that wasn't necessarily a power gut, but you could see the body of work and you could see the Hall of Fame trajectory that this power gut was on before ultimately we lost him way too soon. And that was Andrew Test Martin in ECW. Now he is ripped, he is jacked to the gills, but if you look at the gut, you can see the shape is forming and you can see what his future is about to look like. And you can just see that this guy is going to Howard and it's really going to carry him on in the next 7, 8 years of his career where he transitions into being a power gut guy. And unfortunately, we lost Test way too soon. We lost that power gut way too soon. But man, Test would have been in the Power Gut Hall of Fame. Um, Very rare to have somebody go from like being on one end of the body guy spectrum to going to the other end of the body guy spectrum. And Test would have been able to have, it's almost like Barry Bonds, like having two Hall of Fame careers. Test would have had his front end, where he's a speedy contact, great hitter. And then he would have had it back on his career where he's just hitting 747-foot home runs to the Bay. And that would have been Test in the back end there, but unfortunately we lost him. But again, the power gut trajectory was there for Test.
Right. So what are some people who have bad power guts?
It's I don't say bad power guts, but I see people start throwing in guys like Earthquake and Typhoon, and not that they aren't powerful men, but I feel like we are misappropriating them from their true category where they
that's
belong.
what I want to. That's how I'm delineating bad place power guts. Dudes who don't necessarily belong in the power gut conversation that are powerful men, but I don't see the gut as the source of the power. Maybe Typhoon. Maybe Uncle Fred upon further review. But right now, I am down to put him in the bad place of power guts for just misappropriation, mislabeling.
One that I'm low on is Vader. I don't put him in the power gut
because he's a power
Hall
man.
of Fame. But yeah, some people are going to make the case for Big Van Vader, but I don't see him as a power gut entrant. I think somebody else who's getting a power gut, and I'd like to see him do a little bit more or even less with the power gut, and that's Otis.
Yes, sir.
Having a great run. Would like to see that power gut showcase just a little bit more, man. Lower cut on the straps. Let that baby breathe. I like to see it highlight a little bit, almost Anvil-esque, and that's high praise.
Yes. One person I'm going to put on this list, and it's because he has forsaken the gut, and he has trimmed down to a ton of weight, trimmed down to a beautiful size, but a man who I affectionately used to refer to as Baby Huey. Gunther as Walter.
If Gunther just would have stuck to like squatting a whole bunch and like bench pressing a whole bunch and keep the diet exactly the same, he could be in the Power Gut Hall of Fame.
But he went away from it. He ran from it. He didn't run to it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
What could have been?
Right.
What could have been?
Doug, I'll happily give my spot as a weekly contributor to We Need Wrestling over to you if you want to come in with more pearls of wisdom like that one. Let us know in the comments section your favorite wrestling power guts. We need to know. Also at TNM shows. I know that it's also been in all the other Discord channels for Ad Odds and We Need Wrestling, but they didn't hear ours yet, so we're giving ours now. I know you thought that we were really going to talk about the January 6th question, but I decided maybe we don't do that one.
Let's do that one.
At some point, maybe. Once we get Patreon going.
Ask us a January 6th question.
Please don't.
Ask us a January 6th question.
Tell us, Marcus, what rocked for you this week?
What rocked for me was I didn't know that a promo was capable of encapsulating Boo Boo Face, but I think maybe the promo from SmackDown to close the show between Roman and Cody just might have been it.
You son of a bitch.
Now, I'm going to look very foolish if Cody wins the title at WrestleMania, but if Roman wins, we can go back to that promo and we could be like, Yep, we knew 3 weeks out from WrestleMania how this bad boy was ending. Sounds of Freedom.
Wow.
But that
Um,
rocked for me because I enjoyed it a lot. Actually, I thought it was pretty funny.
yeah, I'll give you. I don't want to give it to you, but I'm gonna give it to you. Um, X gonna give it to you. Um, what rocked for me is it may be something that was missed by a lot of people, and that is the segment on the Pat McAfee show with Roman Reigns. I think that rocked. It's Roman in a situation that he's not more Roman in person out in the wild. Um, but Roman Roman at the Pat McAfee show, he gave me all the Roman I want. Right? Natural, very composed. He gives the right answers, and it's wild where um conversation that's been had before about like what's the difference between a good guy and a bad guy is their motivations, right?
Mm.
Essentially a good guy and a bad guy are the same people, except like one takes their energy out on typically those who do right, others opposite way. And Roman on the Pat McAfee show spun everything in such a way that actually puts him in like a positive light and makes
Mhm.
Cody look like the heel. Where it's like,
No,
did you watch it?
they have the opportunity. I did. They have the opportunity, like between Rock's promo that he did a couple weeks ago and Roman's promo, not even promo, but like what Roman's talking about, like on Pat McAfee, and if Roman gets a chance, well, and like he kind of did on SmackDown too, um, a little bit. But like if they keep going down this path, they have like the opportunity to like almost like Fall Brawl '99 it with like like oh wait, Sting was the bad guy the whole time, like the NWO was the good guys, but like they could do it in real time. Um, yeah, they won't because it's too interesting, but I think when they decided to turn Roman, he's gonna be one of the best baby faces the company's ever had. In that run specifically. Um, I love seeing Roman, the dude, out doing these things, and less of Roman the WWE superstar. Um, but yeah, man, like the way that he laid it out, and like his side of things, his version. It's a narrative that I like to believe in, and I was like, yeah, I agree with Roman. More than I see things the way of the nightmare narcotic.
Right. Um, yeah, but that's what rocked for me. Also what rocked for me is the official signing of Jade Cargill to Friday Night SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, if they do the battle royal, pen her in as the winner, um, feels right. Um, it'd be funny if they did like in order to get Jade to sign, like she got guaranteed a title match anytime. And like the funniest thing they could do would like have Bailey win and then like have Jade come in and like exercise that option right away. Um that's the WWE nightmare fuel in me talking of like something they do. But now that Vince is gone, hopefully that's not something that happens, but you never know. Um I was talking with somebody, and I won't disclose who this individual was. Just kidding, it was Papa Joe. Talking to Sposto, and, I was saying, I'll incriminate myself. I was saying that we're just like a few more segments away from like Jade Cargill becoming Paul White, and I'm talking about like Fubu wearing oversized jerseys and pants, big show on Raw, cutting like long-winded promos. It's so clear what Jade like needs to be, and both companies just continue to swim against the current.
Mm-hmm.
You look at her, and it should be Mike Tyson. Like, even more so than Ronda Rousey, who was actually able to do it for real in UFC. Jade Cargill should be ending matches in under a minute. Local
Yeah.
competitors, main roster people. Look at this woman. There is no reason anybody should be able to last more than a minute with her outside of Rhea, Bianca, Becky, Charlotte, Asuka,
Right.
Io, maybe. Right? There's a handful of talents there. But by and large, she should be able to wreck the division, and not in a way where she just like beats everybody and wins the belt. But like, I think there's some good storytelling you could do there with her being this truly unstoppable force, and ending matches in a minute, and then trying to get people to, all right, can I get it to 2 minutes? Can I get it to 3 minutes? Like, can I get her to trip up? And instead, both companies, AEW and WWE, seem determined to make her this, to borrow a phrase, like this best bout machine, this, oh, what a moment person. Like, no, the moment is like her eating somebody up in 30 seconds. That's the moment. The moment is not like her having a 20-minute banger. That's not the moment. And I don't know why that's the expectation. I don't know why that's what the fans want. I, there's a million people who could do that, but like, to have somebody that looks like that with that kind of presence to be able to go out there and eat people up in a minute, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, and like you talk about like script and buzzer beaters for WWE, like if you can script that, and like you can script your own version of like a Mike Tyson in this day and age, that's dope. And that's something that they should be doing instead of, let's turn her into another fantastic worker.
Right. I think that's fair. I think that's very, very fair. But anything else rock for you this week?
That was it for me. The thing for things that rocked. I think we both had a couple weekly purchases come in
Yeah, I think
since the last
so.
time we recorded.
I think so. I know that I've made a couple purchases that are going to be on pre-order or they're on pre-order right now. Um, but I got a couple more bootleg shirts coming in.
All
Um,
right.
I I got the rock concert shirt. Um, and I also got the Evolution Made Paid and Laid shirt.
Nice. Okay.
Got both of those. But also got the Coliseum Collection Heart Foundation that came in. Very nice. Very nice. And I also booked my vacation for this coming up Easter weekend. Heading down to Virginia with the missus for Easter. Doing like a late wedding celebration with my family in Virginia, and some friends and family. So we're leaving like Thursday morning, afternoon. And we'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and leaving like Sunday afternoon. So
Okay.
it's gonna be fun, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to be down there. Um, Go eat at all my favorite places. Um, Definitely gonna get some Plaza Azteca. Definitely gonna get some Spaghetti Eddies. It's gonna be fun, of course. But that's all I've got. Did you buy anything else that we didn't cover?
Like, nope. Just my Coliseum collection came in. A couple booties. Some bootlegs came in for me. But that was it for me.
Nice,
I
nice.
gotta I gotta tail back the weekly purchases with WrestleMania coming up, the little one's birthday coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, gotta cut back on the purchases, and then I did end up buying MLB The Show though. Friday night.
Of course you did.
Um, yeah, so I haven't really had a chance to play it yet though, so I feel like that's like my own punishment for making a weekly purchase. It's like I'll buy it, but I won't play it.
Right. But that's like it's a annual thing for you. It's a tradition.
That is an annual
It's a
thing.
tradition unlike any other.
It's a built-in expense, yeah.
That's right. It's on the board. But is there anything you need to plug?
Nothing for me, my guy.
Well, all that's left to do is remind everybody that we are proud members of the Soon to Be Named Network. soon-to-be-named-network.com, soon-to-be-named-network.tumblr.com, at STBN Network on Twitter. It's your spot for everything. This show, our other wrestling shows of We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett, and At Odds of Wrestling with Joe and Adam. So much more on the podcast. Shout out to Big Tates giving us a listen from Wings on Wings. I love the synergy of the network. It's spreading, it's permeating throughout.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. Just dudes loving dudes. It's so fun. And everybody's a dude. I believe in the Good Burger. He's a dude. She's a dude. We're all dudes. Yeah. But everything is there at STBN Network on Twitter. All of our shows, if we make appearances somewhere else, Papa Joe's got it on lock. A big shout out to our third man, DeWicki. Everything you do, so thankful for you. Thankful for you, the listening audience. If you haven't already, find us on YouTube, like, subscribe. We look to down the road do more. I know we say this all the time, or at least I do, but we'll get there, and we appreciate you guys being on the road with us. Next week is Easter weekend. We will have a show. I'll be back. We will have a show. Because I gotta talk about my trip. We'll have a prognostication about WrestleMania and so much more. But right now, Marcus, all that's left is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.